Imagine your mind is a garden, silent, obedient, and always growing. But here's the unsettling truth. It doesn't care if you plant seeds of success or failure. It simply grows whatever you feed it. Right now, without knowing, you might be nurturing the very things you fear. What if the invisible force shaping your life isn't luck, but your own thoughts? The question is, what are you unconsciously growing? In just a few moments, I will teach how to master the powerful law. What you focus on, you attract. The invisible law, you become what you think about. I want you to imagine for just a moment that your mind is like a grand garden. This garden does not care what seeds you plant, whether they be seeds of success, hope, abundance, or seeds of doubt, fear, and failure. But mark my words, whatever you plant, it will grow. This is the invisible law that governs every man and woman. The law that says what you focus on, you attract. You see, thoughts are not idle, they are magnets, they have form. Energy and power, they shape not only how you feel, but the very circumstances of your life. You've seen it. Before a man who constantly thinks about poverty, talks about scarcity, believes that the world is unfair, what does he attract? Misery, lack, and more hardship. On the other hand, a person perhaps with no more talent, who fills his mind with images of opportunity, abundance, and faith in himself, he attracts prosperity, support, and success seemingly out of thin air. This is no accident. This is no trick of luck. It is the natural consequence of what I call definiteness of purpose combined with definiteness of thought. You are either consciously designing your life or unconsciously accepting whatever weeds sprout in that mental garden. I recall a young man I once mentored. He was convinced he would never amount to anything because his father had told him. So day after day, he focused on failure. His head was bowed, his shoulders slumped. His conversation filled with words like, I can't, it's impossible, and it's too hard. One day, I told him plainly, son, if you keep watering those weeds of failure, don't expect roses to bloom. Something shifted in him that day. He began slowly but surely to replace those weeds with seeds of faith. He started each day declaring, I am capable, I am destined for more. His world changed. Not overnight, but steadily and surely. Today, he is a man of influence, wealth, and peace. The lesson is simple but profound. If you wish to change your life, start by changing what occupies your thoughts. Focus on health, and health finds you. Focus on opportunity, and opportunity knocks. Focus on kindness and friends. Abound. Focus on growth, and the doors to success will swing wide open. Remember, nature does not care whether you plant poison or medicine. It only returns what you sow. So ask yourself, right now, what seeds are you planting in the garden of your mind? The mirror of belief. You will never outperform your self-image. Listen closely, no man ever rises above the image he holds of himself. Not once, not ever. You may labor harder than anyone in the room. You may possess the finest education, the most enviable skills. But if the image you hold of yourself is small, if you see yourself as unworthy, incapable, or unlucky, then life will forever deliver results that match that image. I've sat across from men whose voices trembled as they confessed, I just don't believe I am destined for success. And I always told them the same thing, that belief alone is the first and greatest obstacle you must conquer. Understand this, your subconscious mind accepts every thought, every word, every belief. You feed it as truth. Whether it uplifts or destroys you, it does not argue. It does not reason, it simply accepts, then sets to work making that belief real. Think of a man who believes himself to be unlucky. He walks with his head down, failing to see the open doors around him. He hesitates, doubting his decisions. His handshake lacks firmness. His speech lacks conviction. Is it any wonder that opportunities pass him by? His belief becomes his reality. But let me share a story of transformation. There was once a humble shoe clerk, timid, unsure, overlooked by everyone. One day he made a decision. He declared, I will become a man of influence. I will become a leader of men. Each day he fed his mind with affirmations of strength, capability, and faith. Over months and years, his posture changed, his voice deepened, his handshake grew firmer. Today, that man commands respect, runs his own enterprise, and is sought after for his wisdom. You see, the outer world is nothing but a mirror. It reflects back the beliefs you hold about yourself. If you believe you are meant for greatness, the world conspires to help you achieve it. If you believe you are doomed to failure, the world obliges. So I challenge you, look in the mirror. Who do you see? More importantly, who have you decided to become? Change that inner image, and I promise you everything on the outside will change as well. The power of definite. Goals focus creates fortune. A ship without a rudder is tossed by every wind. A man without a goal drifts the very same way at the mercy of circumstance, luck, and the opinions of others. Nothing, and I mean nothing, will determine the quality of your life more than the goals you set. When your mind is given a definite destination, it becomes a magnet for the resources, the people, the ideas, and the opportunities necessary to achieve it. This is the invisible hand of focus at work. I have sat in rooms with the wealthiest industrialists of our time. And do you know the one common thread among them? They knew exactly what they wanted. Not vaguely, not someday precisely. Clearly, unwaveringly. A man once came to me complaining of never catching a break. I asked him, "What exactly do you want?" He hesitated. He stumbled. He replied, "Well, I just want to be better off." I shook my head. The world does not respond to vague wishes. It responds to definite plans. You see, your mind is like a heat-seeking missile. When you give it a precise target, it adjusts, calculates, and hones in with laser. Like focused distractions fade, doubt weakens. The path becomes clear. Let me tell you the story of Andrew Carnegie, the great steel magnate. Carnegie started with nothing but from a young age. He carried a singular goal to become the richest man in the world. Not for greed, but to demonstrate the power of intention, and then use that wealth for the betterment of mankind. And so he did. His focus was relentless. He wrote it down. He reviewed it daily. He aligned every thought, every action with that goal until it was reality. The lesson: if you wish to become successful, wealthy, or fulfilled, you must first be definite about what that looks like. A vague wish produces vague results. A precise goal produces a precise outcome. Write it down, repeat it daily, burn it into your mind until your very soul believes it. Focus creates fortune, always has, always will. The unshakable power of faith belief unlocks the door. I must impress upon you a truth that has stood the test of time. Faith is the starting point of all achievement. Without it, no plan can succeed with it. No obstacle is insurmountable. Faith is not merely wishing. It is not idle hope. Faith is a deep, unwavering conviction that what you desire is not only possible, it is inevitable. It is the inner certainty that calls unseen forces into motion. I have watched men of modest beginnings rise to astonishing heights, not because they had more talent or resources, but because they possessed a fire of faith that no setback could extinguish. There was once a man, a poor farmer's son, who dreamt of becoming a great speaker. His peers laughed. His teacher scoffed. He had no connections, no fortune, but every morning he stood before his mirror and declared with conviction, "I am a speaker. I am a leader of men." He practiced, he persevered. Years passed, and today his words move nations. Why? Because his faith never wavered. Faith turns obstacles into stepping stones. Where the fearful see failure, the faithful see opportunity. And here's the great secret: faith must be practiced daily. It is not something you have once and for all. It is a discipline, a muscle that grows with use. Every time you affirm your goal, every time you visualize its completion, every time you speak as though it is already yours, you are strengthening the mighty force of faith. And that, my friend, makes you unstoppable. The power of persistence. Refuse to quit, and you cannot be defeated. There is a simple rule that governs success more than talent, more than luck, more than education. And it is this: the man who refuses to quit cannot be defeated. Persistence is the master key that unlocks every door. Show me a man who has achieved greatness, and I will show you a man who has tasted failure, disappointment, and rejection, yet rose, each time with greater determination. I remember vividly the story of Colonel Sanders at the age when most men retire. He carried a recipe for fried chicken and an idea. He traveled door to door facing rejection over 1,000 times. 1,000, but he persisted, and eventually someone said yes. That small yes grew into an empire. Why? Because he simply refused to quit. Persistence does not mean blind stubbornness. It means adjusting your sails, refining your methods, but never surrendering the goal. It is the quiet whisper that says, try again. Even when the world says, give up. Life will test you. It will ask, do you truly want what you claim to desire? It tests not to punish, but to strengthen, to separate the committed from the merely interested. When you persist, unseen forces begin to work in your favor. Doors that were once closed swing open. People who once ignored you become allies. Opportunities that seemed impossible reveal themselves. So I say to you, Be relentless, be unyielding for the man who persists holds in his hands the power to shape destiny itself.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.